How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today let's talk about players who will bounce back in the 2019-20 NBA season. Now, these players previously had a rather unspectacular 2018-19. It doesn't mean they were bad, but they just had a pretty mediocre season, whether it's because of injuries or something else. Obviously, it's not a guarantee that these guys will 100% bounce back, but in my opinion, I think they definitely will. Their work ethic and the circumstances will set these guys up for success, and they're gonna be trying to prove to fans that they still have it. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. Number 10, Gary Harris. The Denver Nuggets had a fantastic 2018-19 season, which ended in a second-round loss to the Portland Trail Blazers. It was the first time the Nuggets made the playoffs since 2013, led by their star, Nikola Jokic. However, before Jamal Murray hit the scene, Gary Harris was supposed to be that secondary star, but he struggled all year with injuries. Hip injuries, hamstring injuries, it piled up throughout the season, so Harris ended up playing just 57 games. He spent some time coming off the bench as well, and as a result, he had the least productive season since his rookie year, with only 13 points a game on 42% from the field, and 34% from three. Before that, he was looking like a rising star, averaging over 50% from the field and 40% from three. Those injuries really hampered his progress, but now with a full offseason to get healthy, Harris will bounce back. Number 9, Goran Dragic. Dragic is not a guy who gets injured often. He's played at least 70 games for almost every season of his career. But in 2018-19, he had to get knee surgery in December, and afterwards, he looked pretty slow, pretty sluggish. It was taking a while for him to get back into form, and he never really returned to his usual self. He shot the worst percentage since his rookie year, his scoring dipped drastically. However, with a healthy summer under his belt, he's now poised to make a comeback. I also believe the Heat are going to be very, very underrated. They got a legitimate star in Jimmy Butler, they've got multiple young players ready to take the next step, and they've got some rookies who are pretty damn good. You add on a healthy Dragic coming back to his usual form, this is a sleeper team, a playoff team, and you can't overlook them. Number 8, DeJounte Murray. Murray missed the entire 2018-19 season with a torn ACL he suffered last preseason. Before that, he was a rising star, making the all-defensive team the season before at just 21 years old. While his offense is still a work in progress, he's shown that he's a defensive stud. At 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan, he has the length to defend anybody from 1 to 3, and he's shown his ability to be able to do that. Recently, he even signed a 4-year, $64 million extension with San Antonio, one of the better deals this summer in terms of value. He might be coming off of a significant injury, but he's already looked good in workouts and preseason. Coach Popovich stated, "He feels confident, he looks confident. He's not holding back or anything like that, so it's good he's being aggressive." Number 7, Lonzo Ball. Now, Lonzo doesn't really have much to bounce back from. His sophomore year was not as exciting as fans hoped, but it was mainly because he had to adjust to a different role. With LeBron going to the Lakers, Lonzo's usage rate dropped along with the rest of his numbers. However, his jump shot has slightly improved, but his free throw shooting got even worse. Now with the Pelicans, Lonzo has free reign to do whatever he wants. He'll have more touches, more opportunities to run the offense, and more importantly, he's out of the Lakers' microscope. In LA, everyone paid attention to him because, it's LA and because of his father. The LA media can be pretty intense and zones in on every little flaw of every player's game, and turns it into a huge headline. But in New Orleans, he won't get as much criticism, and it might help him with his confidence. It was a change of scenery he really needed, and I think he's going to blossom on the Pelicans. Number 6, Dwight Howard. There was a time when we thought Dwight Howard's career would be over. After 2013 in LA, he bounced back in Houston. Then after that, he kinda bounced back again in Charlotte, although some fans would say otherwise. But after last season with the Wizards, where he played just 9 games dealing with his usual back injuries, Dwight's career was looking like it was over. However, over the offseason, he's done some interviews and said he feels like he's in the best shape of his entire life. He dropped 25 pounds and he feels better than ever, and more importantly, his mindset has changed. Before, he still wanted to be a primary scoring option. Now, it looks like he's finally changed. According to Adrian Wojnarowski, he said, quote, "Howard came to meet the Lakers after dropping 25 pounds, showed his back was healthy. The Lakers want him to protect the rim and rebound in a limited role. There was the sense that Howard realized he hit rock bottom and he had been humbled. Even in a limited role, I believe Howard will have the most efficient season of his career and prove to not only himself, but to the world that he can be a fantastic role player on a contending team." Number 5. Markelle Fultz. It's kinda weird to say Markelle would bounce back from anything, considering he wasn't exactly tearing up the league for the past 2 years. But it still makes sense because he's bouncing back from all the faith that everyone lost in him. He's trying to prove to everyone why he was the number 1 pick. He's trying to prove why he was considered the best player in college basketball as a freshman, with comparisons to guys like James Harden and Russell Westbrook. He was always considered a great shooter, but since entering the NBA, that obviously hasn't been the case. Just from watching his recent workout videos over the summer, it looks like he fixed his shooting form. It looks like he recovered from the nerve damage in his shoulder. With a fresh new start in Orlando, where the expectations are pretty low, it's time for Markelle Fultz to prove his doubters wrong. Number 4. Gordon Hayward. Hayward's 2018-19 season was seen as, well, it was kinda strange. When he first signed with Boston, before that brutal foot injury, him and Kyrie were expected to lead the team. But in his absence, Tatum and Brown, who play similar positions, stepped in and basically took his place. This led to Hayward coming off the bench for basically the entire 2018-19 season. Now, it's gonna be quite interesting. Hayward got inserted back into the starting lineup and it looks like he's going to be a permanent starter again. With everything going his way and looking completely healthy now, it's time for Hayward to show what he can do. I believe he'll be an all-star again and average around 20 points a game, just like back in Utah. He said it himself that his body feels 100%. Number 3. Chris Paul. I mean, let's be honest, nobody's really gonna pay attention to OKC this year. They've lost Russell Westbrook, they've lost Paul George, and despite getting some good pieces, some good assets and future picks, they're really not in the position to contend right now. But one guy who's somehow gone under the radar is Chris Paul. Because he suffered through numerous injuries the last few seasons, many fans believe he's nearing the end of his career. In 2018-19, he played 58 games and averaged a career low in points and field goal percentage. The once hyper-efficient point guard looks nothing like he was in his prime. Does he still have it? Well, the truth is, he's only had one off year out of the last, 10 years. Despite being 34 years old, he looks healthier than he's been since 2016. I see a bounce-back season on Paul's horizon, on a team where he's going to be the de facto leader and a great mentor to young players, mainly Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Number 2. Kevin Love. With LeBron and Kyrie both out of the picture, last season was the time for Kevin Love to shine, to show what he can really do, and if he can return back to his superstar status like back in Minnesota. He even signed a 4-year, $120 million contract in the summer of 2018, as the Cavs were confident he was going to be their man. However, a nagging toe injury hampered him throughout the season and he only managed to play 22 games, and the Cavs finished with a 19-63 record, one of the worst in the entire league. Now, the stage is set for Love to shine. Now, do I think he's going to put up the same numbers like in Minnesota? No, but he's going to be an all-star again and a dominant power forward for years to come. And finally, number 1, Kristaps Porzingis. It's been a long time since Porzingis has stepped onto the NBA court. For the last year and a half, he's been rehabbing, recovering from a torn ACL that caused him to miss over 100 games. Prior to the injury, he was having a career season, averaging 23 points a game, keeping the Knicks afloat, and they were having their most exciting season since 2013. But it all went crashing down. In January of 2019, while he was rehabbing, Porzingis met with the Knicks management and demanded a trade. citing his frustration with the franchise losing constantly, its dysfunctional management, and the uncertainty of whether he could even turn it around. Shortly after, he got traded to the Mavericks. In the summer of 2019, he signed a massive 5-year, $158 million deal, with the Mavs hoping he could regain his form, or else this contract would be a disaster. Nonetheless, he has shown he's turning back to form, and this will be the season he reclaims his All-Star status. And that's all, folks. Those were, in my opinion, 10 players who will most certainly have a bounce-back season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if there's anybody else that should have been on this list. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.